Alors, bonjour tout le monde. My name is Nicolas Benoit. I'm co-leader with Josué Jautzy of the project called Ring of Fire, Reconstructing long-term environmental records to support regional assessment. The little background, the Ring of Fire is in a region of large deposit of nickel, copper, zinc, chromium, and platinum group mineral. It is located in one of the world's largest wetland systems sensitive to climate change and anthropogenic stresses. Due to its expected development, additional knowledge is required in order to understand the potential cumulative effect of the ongoing future climate change and anthropogenic stresses. Because of the sensitivity of the systems, changes to groundwater flow dynamic, changes in lake sediment condition and forest fires can be potentially enhance the remobilization of metals over time. The natural presence and behavior of metal in this environment system needs to be carefully assessed prior to any development. The general objective of this project is to improve the knowledge on the evolution of the wetland baseline conditions in response to climate and anthropogenic stresses and their effect on metal mobilities. For this project, we have a great multidisciplinary team with a variety of expertise. Because of the COVID-19 situation and combined to the logistic complexity of fieldwork in the Ring of Fire, the project activities has been redefined in the last year. There are 4 activities. The first one is the remote definition of the baseline conditions of the hydrostratigraphy and superficial geology of the Ring of Fire. And then we have the environmental archive study of the pre-mining analog context of chromite deposit at Menaric Lake. We have a similar study for a post-mining analog site of chromite deposit in Chaudière-Appalaches region. And we have an activity on the analytical development of chromium speciation analysis in water applied to laboratory and field development. This map shows the location of the Ring of Fire near to the McFall Lake here, west of the James Bay, just here. And you can see the location of the 2 analog sites, the pre-mining context at Menaric Lake, east to James Bay, and the post-mining context near to Coleraine in southern Quebec. Okay, the first activity focuses on the remote definition of the regional hydrostratigraphy of the Ring of Fire. The characterization of the hydrostratigraphic context is a key baseline condition for understanding groundwater flow dynamics, including recharge and discharge zones. From public boreholes database, we were able to estimate the thickness of the unconsolidated sediments. The sediment thickness on the map here on the left clearly show a strong thickness contrast here between the Archean rocks on the west compared to the Paleozoic rock formation to the east, where the thicker sediment deposits are associated with the erosion of the sedimentary platform, illustrated by the pink contour here. The Surficial geology map in the center here was produced by the OGS, and the red square show that this map is incomplete. And the Surficial geology map is an ancestral geoscience baseline that must be completed. On the right, you can see the conceptual hydrostratigraphic model of the Ring of Fire that we have so far in the bottom. This conceptual model was developed from the geologic cross-section just above, based on bore descriptions, sediment thickness map, and existing superficial geology maps. Here's some key knowledge from the interpretation of the geologic cross-section and the corresponding hydrostratigraphic cross-section. The cross-section is about 24 kilometers long, crossing the main esker in the region and Norron mining project. The thickness of the sediment varies from 0.5 meters near to Muktai River to about 35 meters in the main esker. The fact that the wetlands in gray here are omnipresent regionally suggests that the underlying till unit here in green have a low permeability and the water table is close to the surface. The till is usually compact, but still considers as a leaky aquifer, recharging the fractured bedrock considered as the main aquifer regionally. The esker have a high permeability, but are usually dry based on bore observation. In the eastern part of the study area, the silt and clay here are associated with the Tyrer Sea and are considered as aquitar. This sediment can create conditions where local aquifer exists near to the surface over the glacial marine clays, but separated for the regional bedrock aquifer. In resume, the aquifer in the quaternary sediment looks rare in the Ring of Fire, and to refine our understanding of the hydrostratigraphy of the region, we need quality data and build a 3D model. As a sub-activity, we use the machine learning to complete the superficial geology mapping. This is an important feature for future 3D modeling of the regional hydrostratigraphy. For this development, we assume that the unknown geology here in the red patch has a similar context to the known geology around. From correlated data such as the topography and satellite image, the machine learning algorithm job is to find a model that relates the known geology to this data, and then we can make prediction with this model. For comparison purpose, we implemented two types of algorithm, the convolutional neural network and the random forest. We train and test the model based on this method, and for the moment, we get similar interesting result with metrics accuracy at F1 score around 0.77, where 1 is the best and 0 is worse. However, if we look at each individual geological unit, this metric drops significantly when we have a unit with low proportions on the map. So the remaining challenge for this development is to better address this low proportion unit for this kind of unbalanced data set. I just added this slide to show that each machine learning has its pros and cons, and even if the cumulative neural network looks conceptually better for geologic mapping application, it looks, based on the result we have so far, that there's no best method. It really depends on the data available. We will now move to from the Ring of Fire to the post-mining analog context of chromite deposit in Chaudière-Appalaches for the environmental study of chromium occurrence and mobility. For this activity, we first look at 5 abandoned mines located in the ophiolitic complex of Thetford. Based on the result of 2 short field campaigns, which took place last spring, we retained 2 mines for the study. The Montreal mine, located here, with wetlands nearby as in the Ring of Fire, and the Reed Bélanger mine here, which was the most important chromium mine in the area. We just have completed last month the field campaign at Montreal and Reed Bélanger mine. During the field work, we sampled different environments. We sampled groundwater from mining bowls, mine shaft, and waste rock seepage. We sampled surface water from streams, wetland, and pit lakes. For the later, we did the sampling by drone. The use of the drone allows us to quickly and safely make vertical profile of physical-chemical parameters in the water column that help us to determine the depth of the thermocline and any chemocline, and thus target the sampling depth of interest on the field. All the water sample will be analyzed for metal concentration and chromium speciation. We also collect samples from waste rock, tailing, and secondary mineral precipitates from weathered surfaces for mineralogy analysis. We sample organic soil in wetland and lake sediment. The coring work will assess whether these environmental records can provide a chronology of mining activities at the nearby chrome mines. Overall, this 2 weeks of field campaign was a great success, and thanks to Josué Jautzy, Mike Person, Vincent Tremblay, and also Alexandre Debarra, Paul Gamon, and Pierre Pelcha for their remote contribution. Here is a regional view showing the distribution of the sample size. They are all located in the Lac Saint-François watershed, except for few sites at the Reed Bélanger mine. Here you can see the watershed contour in black. It's hard to see, but it's there. And as you can see, Reed Bélanger properties is here. So there's a part of the watershed limit is across the properties. So a part of the Reed Bélanger property is drained to Caribou Lake direction, and another part is drained in the direction of Black Lake open pit in the west. Montreal mine is located about 7 kilometers west to Reed Bélanger. The surface water for both mines flow into the Petit Lac Saint-François via the Ashburham River here and the Chrome Creek here. Note that we also took some sample from these streams, like here and here. And as I mentioned before, we took sediment core in the deepest area of Petit Lac Saint-François, just here. Now, this is the local view of the mines and the sampling site. On the left, you see the Reed Bélanger mine area where the mills and the shaft are located in this area nearby the waste rock area. To the north, you have a series of a small open pit here. And on the other side of the watershed boundary, you have a large tailing deposit in this area with a spreading zone here to the south where the tailing were observed under the vegetation. On the right, you have the local view of the Montreal mine with its large open pit. This is the place we sample with the drone. There is a lot of waste rock in this area for this mine, but there's no surface tailing. However, the field observation on the sediment under the wetland here and in this area suggests that the vegetation has covered all tailing deposit. The sediment analysis will confirm later this observation. Note that the wetland here is fed by a significant seepage here at the base of the waste rock. The next step of this activity will be to analyze and interpret all the collected samples. Before I finish, I just want to mention that one of the key components of this project is to analyze the chromium speciation in water. The analysis of chromium in this kind of environment is complex due to its possible interspecies conversion from the time of sampling and the time of analysis. In this project, our colleagues Paul Gamon and Pierre Pelchat from GSC Ottawa are involved in the development of analytic methodology to mitigate this issue. The development of the methodology will also be validated through an inter-laboratory comparison with different measurement technique. In conclusion, we have a first preliminary regional hydrostratigraphic model for the Ring of Fire. Obviously, quality data and 3D models are now needed to refine and understand for better understanding of the hydrostratigraphy of the region. We have developed a machine learning pipeline for superficial geology mapping. The preliminary results are encouraging, but the methodology must be improved to better address unbalanced data set that show geological units with low proportion. We sample pre- and post-mining analog context for chromite deposit in different environments. And now the next phase is to analyze the collected sample and ultimately evaluate the proposed methodology for the characterization of the occurrence and mobility of chromium in this kind of environment and in the Ring of Fire. Thank you.